live.
We're live. Hi, everybody. I see people already.
Hello, people.
Very cool.
And hello to everybody who's going to watch this later.
Yes. Hello to everybody. I always forget to say that. You would think after, so many times doing live streams, I would remember to say that, but I always forget. I should have bullet points like next to the camera. So how are you? How have you been?
Pretty good. I came down with like just a teeny bit of a cold. It just kind of felt like the verge of a cold. Tested 3 times and it's not COVID. So I know that much, but feeling a lot better now. I haven't started running just yet. My legs just don't really feel up to it yet. I'm going to get to that maybe Monday. So.
Right. So I ran yesterday for the first time, Friday. Yeah. So I waited. It was really it was so cold. And when you're in Florida and then you come back, obviously that bitter cold is like, it seems like
it's even colder.
Yeah. It feels like, how am I going to get used to this again? Like it's just, so I held on to running till Friday, and then I went out for a run on Friday and it was very cold. And then I went out today again and I was going to do intervals because I have decided I'm going to train for something else. So yeah, I have friends who get me in trouble. That's the problem. I received texts from a friend of mine. Actually, she's in some of my videos. My friend Jennifer. I run with her. Yeah, so she texted me while I was in Disney because she was seeing my pictures and she was like, "So I signed up for these other races if you want to." So I was like, "Okay."
You want to do it too?
Oh, you twisted my arm. So she signs up for so many races. I mean, you have to have a specific budget just for, if you really, she runs a lot. So
yeah.
So I have decided, I haven't signed up yet, but I have decided I am going to sign up for the Atlantic City half marathon.
Yay!
So yeah, it's all flat. So I want to go for like a PR, see if I can do something, get a better time. Obviously PR, and so hopefully
I'm definitely, after doing 2 marathons almost back to back like that, I'm definitely going to take it down to a half marathon probably for the rest of the year.
Right. Yeah, I was very tempted. Very, very tempted. I was thinking about signing up for the Brooklyn Marathon, which is in April, at the end of April. But I don't know. I am like weighing pros and cons, because I do think, like you say, it's after 2 marathons back to back. I think I just need to run a little bit less, because I was putting a lot of miles. You too. I mean, you ran a lot last year, so I think the legs and your body in general, I think we just need a break. So
yeah, and I mean, even the ultra marathoners, they'll take it down to just 1 or 2 goal races per year, and everything else is going to be way shorter.
Right. So yeah, we're here to talk about this. I actually have my medal.
Yay! Mine's right
well,
there.
yours is the same, but I like that they put both, Mickey and Minnie. And I don't know, once I hang this one on the wall, I don't know which side I'm going to have on, because I like them both. I mean, it's just beautiful.
It used to be just Mickey, because it used to be the hosts for the marathon, for the races, were Pluto for the 5K, Minnie for the 10K, and it was cute because they always had a polka dot ribbon, and then Donald for the half and Mickey for the full. And then a few years back, they decided to add Oswald to the lineup, and so they made him the 10K, and they bumped Minnie up to co-host the marathon with Mickey. And then within the last year or so, since you had both Mickey and Minnie for the marathon, then they added Daisy to the half marathon. So you get both of those.
Right. And I think it's just nice. I mentioned this in the video that I did from the expo. I think it's just nice that it has the races are represented by a male and a female character. I think it's just, and there's so many women who run these races. I mean, it's I don't know the percentage, but it's got to be higher.
You should see the Princess Weekend, it's like 80% women. So it's really, really cool.
Yeah. There's a race in New York City that's the women's half marathon. It's just you can only sign up if you're a woman. So
Hmm.
it's 100% women. Yeah, it's
Wow.
organized by the New York Road Runners, and it's thousands. I mean, it's I don't know, maybe 7,000 women.
Mhm.
So yeah, I was tempted to sign into that, but again, you need to have a budget. It's like they do start like it's a lot of money. It's like it could be 100. I mean, and races here are expensive. I don't
Mhm.
know in Arkansas where you are. How much does a half marathon? How much does it cost typically?
Usually around $50 is kind of the
Oh, so
norm for
that's
a
good.
half. Yeah.
Yeah. Here they are. I mean, you would pay $50 if you don't get anything, if you don't get the medal or
Yeah.
even a T-shirt. Like some races, actually, they just organize the race, and then they say, the way that we keep the cost down is because we're not offering anything else other than the water on the course and like booze
Mhm.
and things like that. So let's recap the race because that's what
Yeah.
people and I see people popping in. So if you have any questions, guys, just ask them about the Walt Disney World Marathon. We both run exclusively the marathon. I have a
Mhm.
question for you. Would you do the dopey or the goofy?
Probably not. That's a lot of effort, and I put so much into doing a marathon that I don't think that I could, wear myself out doing a 5, a 10, and a half leading up to a marathon, especially since they are so strict on the cutoffs that I wouldn't want to chance it. Plus, Adobe is super expensive.
I know, yeah. I want to do it for my 50th.
Mhm.
So yeah, so in 2024, I would love to do it just to say, well, first of all, because they're a lot of fun. I mean, these races are a lot of fun. And also just to say, I did it. So,
Mhm.
hey, Dan is here.
Dan's here. Hi,
Hi,
Dan.
Dan. We're here, we're complaining about Dopey, and he's going to do another 50 miler.
I know,
It's like,
right?
yeah, it doesn't
But
feel
at
right
least
in just one
at least
sitting.
with the at least with Adobe, you get to spread the 49 miles over 4 days.
Right, right. And you start slow. I mean, the 5K.
Yeah,
So
you could just
he's,
walk the 5K.
yeah, I think here's how I would do it. I would do the 5K, just walking it. The 10K, I would
Mhm.
run, a little faster ish.
Yeah,
And then the half of the marathon, I was just run walk them.
yeah.
So,
Because there's no time limit for the 5K.
right, which is
So,
good. Yeah,
yeah.
anybody can do it. Yeah, it's great. So, Chaminda is asking, what is the race entry fee? So, the marathon was
It depends on the
195,
distance.
right? The
Yeah, I
marathon,
think, yeah, once you add taxes and the processing fees and all that, it ends up being, like, around just over 200.
yeah. And then the 5K and the 10K, I think they're like $80 or something like that, like
Mhm.
high up there as well. Yeah.
And
I
then and
mean,
then around 120, 150 for the half, something like that.
yeah, I don't think so. Here's what I think. I think given what you get, I don't think the marathon is expensive. I think
Right.
195, it's not expensive for what you get. You get an awesome medal,
Mhm.
phenomenal. I
You
mean, the
get you get
hardware
the
is just,
ears. Mhm.
you get the ears at the end, which I have
Mhm.
here just to show them. I'm not going to wear them because somehow, well, I'll pretend. Somehow they look a lot nicer on other people, but when I put them on myself, I look very goofy,
Aw, you're
it's like
cute.
they're small for my I don't have a big head. I don't know. It's like yeah, you get this at the end. You get a lot of support
Mhm.
on the course,
There
which I
are
think, yeah,
so many water stations, so many of them.
yeah. Jamin is saying looks like similar to New York City, but easy to get in.
Yeah.
New York City is 300. If you're not a New York Road Runners member, which I was
Mhm.
when I signed up for when I got my 9+1 and everything, I paid 295. But if you are not a New York Road Runners member,
Mhm.
you pay 310, I think it is, or something like
Yeah.
that. So New York City is very expensive.
And then, of
Yeah.
course, there's no lottery to get into Walt Disney World. It's like you're
Yes.
either there on registration day and you make it in, or that's it.
Yeah. The problem with the Disney races is that most of them sell out so quickly that
Right. Well, they open it up beforehand to cast members. They have a Run Disney Club that has like they very rarely take membership into that, so they open early for them. And if you have an annual pass, then you get to register early, and then anything that's left is open to the general public.
right. I just checked for the purpose of this video this morning. Actually,
Hmm.
the Princess, the half marathon is still open. They still had
Hmm.
bibs.
They just opened up more half marathon bibs while
Oh,
we
so that
were
is why.
while we were there.
Okay, cool. And then they still have bibs for the 10 miler in April.
I know, which is one that it was one that they used to do a long time ago, and then they stopped it, and then they added the Star Wars weekend. And now that they've gotten rid of Star Wars weekend, then they put that back in. And like that Tower of Terror 10 miler is one that I have always wanted to do and never had a chance to. So
I
I'm
would love
like,
to do that one.
do I want to go back to Disney that soon? I don't know.
Yeah, it's the issue I see with the Disney races is that to get the most out of it, you have to be in the bubble.
Hmm.
If you're not in the bubble, you have to, it's more complicated to get to the race start, more complicated to get
Right.
back to where you're sleeping, more complicated to get to the expo as well. So, and
Yeah.
all of that adds up. If you are staying in
Hmm.
that little bubble, it's,
Yeah. There's a
yeah,
lot of
it's
logistics
expensive.
that you kind of have to figure out if you're going to do a Disney race.
Yeah. So let's talk
Especially
about,
with the super early start time. You have to have that figured out how you're gonna get to the start line at 3 in the morning, so
right, right. Ben is here
okay,
too.
Ben's here. Hey, Ben.
Party time. You watched the video, Ben, but we actually were talking about you. So if
We
your ears were ringing,
because she was saying you were asking if we were gonna meet up while we were there, and then we found each other in the corral.
yeah, yeah. Well, you found me. Like that was so cool. I was not obviously not paying attention to my phone, and you had texted me, and I didn't read it. So then, when you appear in front of me, I was sitting there, and then I see you, and I recognized you immediately because of your voice. When you said hi, I was like, "Oh my god!" Yeah, it
Yeah,
was like,
I texted and, like, immediately after I sent it, turned around and was like, "Maybe she's behind me somewhere." And then I saw because I had seen that you had posted a picture that morning of what you were wearing, and I saw you sitting there, and I was like, "That's her."
"Oh my god, that was so cool just to meet you." It was like so nice, and yeah, yeah. And then once we started, you like booted it so quickly. Like I noticed that you were going fast because you said, "Bye, girls." It's like, oh my god, look at her! Like,
I was like, "Have
yeah, that was
fun."
it was awesome. And then we were like, maybe we'll pass her later. Well, I didn't. No, we didn't pass you. You were like way ahead of us. Yeah.
I think I ended up finishing, like, maybe 10 minutes ahead of you, something like that, because I slowed way down on the second half, so I was like, "You know what? Why am I going so fast? I'm just gonna take pictures."
See, for us, we did not intend it. So I told Tristan it was obviously her first marathon.
Mhm,
And I told her, ideally, we want to start slow and then,
mhm.
just speed up if we can at the end. But we were not like keeping any sort of pace. We agreed that we were going to do
Yeah.
1 minute running, 1 minute walking, and we were going to stick to that. And then if we felt good at the end, see if we could do maybe 2 minutes running, 1 minute walking, or just
Mhm.
run the run portions faster. And we were
Right.
still like our walk were like 16 minutes per mile. So, like we were, even when we were walking, we
Oh,
were
yeah.
walking at a good clip. So, um, but at first everybody was passing us. I mean, the video is like everybody's like passing on the left, on the right. It's like,
But then at the
yeah,
end, you start passing the people that passed you earlier, and yeah.
yeah. We actually, I didn't see this. I didn't look at any of the stats till like I was here already. Like I think I looked at them Wednesday or even Thursday. And then I texted Tristan. I said, I don't know if you do realize this, but we actually ran the second half 10 minutes faster than the first half. That's a
Yeah, I
lot.
think your last 10K was probably your fastest, I think.
Yeah, we were like
Mhm.
at the very end, we were like, okay, let's just get it done.
'Cause at the end, you're
Yeah,
like, "I just wanna finish."
yeah. Although I was so, high on adrenaline, I could have run. If they had told me I still had another 10 miles, I would have kept going. I was so happy. Like there was a huge difference for me in between running New York City Marathon and running this, because in New York
Oh,
City
yeah.
Marathon, I really wanted to PR. I wanted to do like
Mhm.
I wanted to post a good, like a nice finish time, which I did, but not as good as I
Yeah.
thought. And I was so like excited and carried away with like I have to go fast, okay, that I did not
Mhm.
enjoy it because I did not focus on the people. Whereas here, I
Mhm.
was like, okay, we'll finish when we finish. We'll just have to, cross the finish line. That was our goal.
Yeah.
So,
And that's what I tell people is that if you're doing a Disney race, there's not that many people that go. I mean, it is a Boston qualifier, but it's not really one where people go and they pay attention to their time because it's more about the whole spectacle of the whole thing.
right.
And of course, there's always people to look at because um, if you're not in costume, you're pretty much in the minority. It's like there's so many different costumes to look at, and people with like creative T-shirts. If they don't do a costume, they do like something really funny on a shirt. So I saw some really good ones out there.
Yeah, yeah. I try to film, but of course, like you can't film, be constantly filming because you
Right.
want to enjoy it as well. So I would get the camera out. I missed a lot of stuff because by the time you get the camera out and start filming, sometimes you pass people.
Hmm.
But yeah, and the signs, I was surprised about, like how many people go to Disney and bring a sign in their suitcases. It's like, I was surprised with that because there were a lot of signs and people
Oh
who,
yeah.
they are just there on vacation. So,
I liked the lady who was standing there. She had a balloon and a sign that said, "Don't panic, I'm not a balloon lady."
oh, I saw that one. That was great. Yeah, yeah. So for those who don't know, the balloon ladies, so to be able to finish the well, any except for the 5K, these events, you need to keep a pace of 16-minute miles. If you don't, there's three balloon ladies at the end, and they just sweep you. They
Mhm.
they have buses along the course, and they just take you in the buses, and you can't finish. You don't get your medal, and you don't cross the finish line. So they,
You do get your medal.
oh, you do.
Just
Oh, that's
yeah.
good.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
since you paid for the medal, you get the medal, but there's a lot of people that end up selling them on eBay saying, "I didn't finish, so does anybody want this?"
You can sell them. You can pay, more fees for other races. But yeah, they basically terrorize everybody because if you're like towards the end, you're constantly watching your back
Mhm.
just to check if the balloon ladies are coming. So
Sometimes you'll see, like, lines of people for the porta potty, and then you'll hear someone say, "The balloon ladies are coming," and people just scatter.
right, and it's in the loop when you're going through Blizzard Beach, the parking lot, and then you turn
Mhm.
around. We passed them there, and there were like at least
Right.
after the balloon ladies, at least 30 people. I mean,
Mhm.
there were a lot of people behind them. Sad because you could see that they were trying to like go faster, but they couldn't. The balloon ladies walk at 16-minute miles. Like it's the
Right.
whole course, the whole race, they do that. So yeah.
Yeah,
So Ben, Ben,
there was another girl at, Epcot that was holding a sign that said, "My mom is one of the balloon ladies, hashtag flex."
that's funny. So Ben actually saying that he would be dopey Dan. You would need to make T-shirts with that, dopey Dan.
Even colors.
That's too funny. Yeah. So how? What was your favorite character from all the characters that are out on the course?
Oh, goodness, I back when I worked at Disney, anytime that I had off, I would go to Pleasure Island, which is, where Disney Springs is now, but they had a club there called the Adventurers Club, and, for anybody who's not familiar with it, it was all set up like, 1930s archaeological relics that people have all put together in this big club with like a library and a mask room and stuff like that. And there were characters that were the members of the club that would come out and interact with everybody and do shows and songs and stuff like that. And so you don't really see them anymore, but since the club shut down when they switched over to Disney Springs, and they had two of the characters out on the course, and I'm always so happy to see them because I always love like the costumes. I love those characters, and so I'm always super happy to see them.
Yeah, same here. I actually went when I did 1 year of college. So I'm from, for those of you who don't know this, who might be watching, I'm from Spain, but I did 1 year of college. There was an exchange program. So I did 1 year of college in the United States. Um, we drove from the University of Alabama, which is where, part of my exchange program. We drove to Florida and we stayed over in Disney. We stayed at the All Stars. So this was in the 90s. I just can't remember
Mhm.
which one it was, but it was like they had just opened it. I think it had been open maybe I don't know, 2 years. So we stayed there and we went to Pleasure Island and we went to the Adventurers Club and it was the best time. Oh my God. I remember
It's so funny.
it was so fun, especially because when we were actually downstairs, the guy, we didn't notice this, but one of the actors was like kind of like really next to us. He was really, really close. So, and then at 12, I don't know what time they do, like they show the confetti and everything, and they're like, Happy New Year. It's not Happy New
Yeah,
Year, obviously, but
but they do
it's
New
just,
Year every night at midnight.
yeah, it was so much fun. I mean, I don't know why they got rid of, they got away with it. Like they just got rid of it, but it
It
was,
was
it was a
that and
fun place.
that one and Comedy Warehouse. I spent a whole lot of time there too.
I remember one, this is kind of a side, they're talking about something that's not the right, but I remember one where you actually sit, they bring the drinks to you. Is that the comedy club? And then they had like on stage people doing
Mhm.
something. I don't
Yeah, they
remember.
did improv. Yeah.
Okay, so we went there too. We spent a lot of time in Pleasure Island. I mean, obviously
Mhm.
it was during spring break.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we went to Magic Kingdom and then the following day we went to Universal. And they back at the time they had Jaws. I mean, it was the
They had
old
Back to the
Universal. It's
Future.
Back
Yeah.
to the Future. We went to
I
Back to the
love that
Future.
ride.
Oh, that ride was awesome. But it was, I think we spent on that line just to ride Back to the Future, I don't know, 3 hours or something crazy like that. It was mobbed. Obviously, there wasn't any fast pass or anything like that.
Right.
So, yeah. So from the race, what was your goal? Like, did you want to just finish? What goals did you have in mind?
I would have loved to have gotten close to my 5:30 time. Obviously that didn't happen because once I got out there I was like, "You know what? This is just fun. I just want to look at stuff. I want to stop and take selfies." So I started out saying, "I'm going to push myself for at least the first half. And then I'm going to pull it way back because it's just going to get hot. And there's no point in pushing myself harder as it's getting hotter and more humid." And right about the time they started handing out the cold wet sponges, I was like, "Yeah, we're going to slow it way down now." So
Right.
at that point, it was just, you know what? I'm just going to finish ahead of the balloon ladies and call it good.
Yeah, and it was surprisingly, I was starting to feel hot at like 9:20, 9:30
Hmm.
when the sun was like out in the sky. At that point I was like, okay, it's gonna be really hot because I was
Yeah,
hot
once the
already.
sun started coming up, it started getting a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was good that they. So one thing that I really enjoyed that I was surprised by, and I know that this race is like well stuck that they have water and goose but they have these nailed down to an art because they have
Hmm.
like the medical tents. They
Hmm.
have like the hand sanitizer. They have like um, moisturizer, like when for the sun, so
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
sunblock. Which I thought it was great because you're sweating and it washes away. So
Hmm.
it's a great idea
They
to have
have
it there.
they have
They have this
Band-Aids, they have Ace bandages, they had the, Body Glide, so if you were chafing somewhere, you could put that on real quick.
right, and
They
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 had
think
them
of
on these
everything.
tables. Yeah, they had these
Mhm,
big tables with like these big tubs. All you had to do is just push on and
mm,
so that is the first time that I see that on a race. So pleasantly surprised. We didn't have to stop for that.
Mhm.
But there's been races where I've been, chafing so badly that I was like, I wish I had, I could get my
Yeah.
hands on
You know,
anti-chafing
you'd
because,
you'd think that, like, more of the major races would have something like that, especially something as simple as, like, sunscreen and, just have tubs of Vaseline out there for people to just, 'cause, they were doing some of that, where they would just scoop some up on a stick and hand it to you as you went by if you needed it. Just it's something real simple, but it's so useful.
right. Yeah, so I like that. I like that they had bananas not towards the end,
Mhm.
but more like towards, I think it was mile 12 where they had the bananas.
Mhm.
Which honestly, if they're going to give you bananas, why wait till the end?
Yeah.
Like, why are
You
they going
don't
to give
need
them
it
to
at
you
the
when you're
end.
right, when you're going to eat at the end, when you're crossing the finish line? So I thought that was great as well. And I thought it was nice that they had the chocolate, in mile
Mhm.
20, I think it was mile 25. But I think that
Yeah,
was a nice treat.
Disney has a deal with Mars because, at Halloween, Mars supplies all of their chocolate that they hand out at the little trick or treat stations all over the park. So they're able to get Milky Ways and stuff like that. Which another YouTuber, Heather Jurgensen, was at that stop. She was one of the people handing out Milky Ways.
I didn't see her though. I didn't know she was there because I guess I didn't see it on. I should have checked Instagram. She posted it on Instagram that she was going to be there,
Mhm,
but I missed that completely. And I have checked because I was filming video as we were going through the
mhm.
chocolate station, but I didn't see her. So I don't know if maybe the video was not in the right angle to see her. But yeah,
Possibly, yeah.
she was on that station, or maybe she had just moved at the when we crossed the. But yeah, another thing that I thought was really well organized is that they keep, even when the parks are open, they keep the people separate. Like the
Mhm,
guests that are just enjoying the parks, they are like on another side. So they like
mhm.
divide with the cones. And I thought people were super respectful because no one was like crossing or anything,
And
which
it's nice that they have cast members out there directing people through crosswalks, so if there's a little gap in the runners, they can help people cross the street.
these these race was organized so well for, I mean, obviously they're doing it on property, so they know they can do
Mhm.
whatever they want. They can, control everything. It's not like New York City does it in a city that they don't own. So,
Right.
but in New York City, for example, once you're going back on Fifth Avenue, you're like after mile 22, 23, people are crossing Fifth Avenue because they want to cross. So they want to
Mhm,
get to the other side of the street and they're just crossing. Like they go on with their
mhm.
lives. And, you're running and it's really uncomfortable to have to be like, yeah, like just
No,
winding,
excuse me.
yeah, left and right. Yeah. So, but here that doesn't happen. You keep going on your lane and people are on their own, in their own lane. And it seems like it's so flawless. I was wondering how they would do that. And it's true that when you get to Epcot at the very end,
Mhm,
there was, I think there was like a restroom to the right. And there were people
mhm,
on the left and there were cast members holding them there, like,
mhm.
like wait here until they all, yeah. So I guess they let them cross to the bathroom to go to the bathroom, like in between runners. So
It's
you
another
can
thing
be there
about,
2 hours waiting because there's so many
yeah,
runners.
exactly, because that's one thing about Disney races that's kind of different from races around here is that eventually, with the field of runners that you have, eventually people are gonna spread out. There is none of that in Disney races. You are surrounded by people all the time.
Yeah. And one other thing that really surprised me is like truly the camaraderie of people. Like
Mhm,
people speak about this a lot. And I thought it was maybe an exaggeration or, we all explain, talk about reality the way that we, experience it. So I was like, well, maybe, this is what but I experienced it too. Like the camaraderie of people, it's just like everybody's in the same, I don't know. Like I
yeah,
stopped a couple of times and I didn't notice that I was stopping. Um, and there were people avoiding me. Like, and I'm there with a camera, which
mhm,
people, it's like, why is she filming? Like people don't mind, like they just
right.
go around you and it's like, oh, she's filming and they keep going. So it's not like they are like, get out of the way, woman. you know. So it's,
Or they'll
people,
intentionally try to stay out of your shot.
Yeah. There were people like going under, like ducking, like it's okay, she's filming. In many other races, like people cross, they don't care. Yeah, so that was really nice. Or Tristan saw a friend when we passed Hollywood Studios, I think it was, and
Mhm.
she crossed because they yelled her name, so she crossed, and then I followed her and crossed too. The amount of people that like tried to avoid us, and no one said
Mhm.
anything. So yeah, like people just it's just a fun race. Yeah.
How did you deal with getting up that early? Because that's a lot earlier than most races start.
So I thought it was going to be harder than it really was, and I don't know, like the whole weekend to me felt, and I think it's because of how it started. Like,
Mhm.
so when I was supposed, the night before I'm leaving, they canceled my flight, which
Mhm.
they had been canceling a lot of flights because of COVID. So I was like, okay, here we go. I'm not going to be able
Right.
to go. All this money spent, and I can't get to the race, and I don't get to enjoy. It's not only the money. I mean, the money is one piece of it, but it's like, I don't get to enjoy. This is just.
Yeah.
Um, but then, and I could not get a hold of American Airlines on the phone. I was waiting for like
Oh.
45 minutes because they just sent me an email
Oh.
saying your flight has been canceled. And I'm like freaking out. So I'm waiting. I call American Airlines and I'm waiting 45 minutes. And they keep saying, did you know that you can reschedule your flight online? The website was down. Like the site, they must have had so
Wow.
many people going in. It was down. So finally, when I'm waiting 45 minutes, I receive another email that says, we have been able to book you in an earlier flight. So if
Oh.
you want to just click here, confirm. So I confirmed so quickly. And I told my husband, you're going to have to wake up because he was going to drop me off at the airport. I'm like, I got in another flight. You have to wake up. So we left the house because it was snowing. It was the middle of a blizzard. So at that point, I didn't even think that I was going to make it. I was like, okay, if we make it in time to the airport, we're going to run, someone's going to have an accident. Like my whole,
Mhm.
I was like such in a negative space. I was like, this is not happening. Like, I know that this is just not gonna, I'm not gonna get to the airport, or the airplane is not gonna leave, or it's something. So once I sat inside the plane, I was like, okay, it's happening. Like now it's
Yeah.
happening. So after that, I was like, now I'm just a full, like I'm just gonna enjoy it every single minute. So
It's
I
kinda
didn't
like, if I
care.
can just get there, everything else can
Yeah.
work out.
So after that, I was like, whatever happens. But that was the only thing. After that, everything else was perfect. You know how in every
Mhm.
trip you do, I always think like there's always something that happens that has
Mhm.
potential to ruin like you lose your phone, or I don't know, you forget something in somewhere. Um, but I was like, okay, that was the anecdote of the trip. Now everything else is going to be perfect. So, so it was. I mean, I didn't care about the early, wake up times or anything. I am a person that when I wake up in the morning, I'm really in a good mood. So my friend Lynn, I wrote with my friend Lynn. And the second night, she ran dopey, so she did the 4 races. So by
Right.
the time she was in the marathon, she was like very tired. So I wake up earlier. I put on the alarm, and I'm like making the buns in the
Right.
bathroom. I'm like trying not to make a lot of noise so I don't wake her up, because she's, I told, she was gonna wake up 30 minutes after me. So I'm there like putting all the pins and everything. And I just get out of the out of the bathroom. I'm like, should I just poke in front of her face with the buns? Like, I could give her a heart
Good
attack.
morning.
So I was this close to doing it. Like, I swear, like it was like approaching the bed, and I'm like, I'm just gonna say, "Good morning, Lynn," but then she woke up. But it was like, this would be like, can you
Uh,
imagine? She was so out of it. Oh my god, poor Lynn. Yeah, she was like, "You're too perky. It's too early in the morning." Yeah.
Speaking
How did
of
you?
all 4 races, did you see that Brittany Charbonneau made Run Disney history by being the first woman to win all 4 races in the Dopey?
Yeah, I have her when I went on Saturday to cheer on the half marathon. She's like
Mhm.
flying. She was second.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
that's halfway through the course, and she was second at that point. But she was
Mhm.
flying, and she has
Oh, yeah.
perfect form. I mean, she
Yeah.
was going so like, and she was like, she's in the video like saying hello, like waving at people. she was so like fresh and strong, and the woman who
Mhm.
was first was not, like, you could tell she was potentially going to fall behind.
She was starting to struggle, yeah.
Yeah, because she was going fast, but not as fast as the second one. Yeah.
See, I think Brittany's Instagram is, Funny Runner 26.2. So, she's been putting up a whole bunch of stuff this week about just her experiences for each one of those races.
I'll put her link, I'll find her, and I'll I'll
Mhm,
I'll put the Instagram below so people can check her out. But yeah, she was flying. And the three
mhm,
women that were like going that fast, like
mhm.
they were faster than most men. I mean,
Yeah,
I think we saw, I want to say 5 men, and then 3 women, and then a bunch
mhm,
of men after them. So yeah, I mean, they were.
yeah.
I don't exactly know how fast she ran every race, but she wants to be.
She
She
she's
wants to go to the
fast.
Olympics, so she's in excellent shape. Yeah,
She could do it. She could do it.
yeah, and she was wearing like a blue wig for the half.
Mhm.
It was. I mean, it was very. It was very easy to see her.
She let's see, she was, let's see, she was Elsa for the 5K, she was Bing Bong for the 10K, she was Joy for the half marathon, and she was Cruella for the full.
That would have been nice to see her for the fall. Actually, I might have, because when I was filming from the corrals, how it
Mhm.
loops, you go out and then you come
Right,
back. So you
mhm.
see all the first runners when you're still in your corral, not even moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we saw 2 women flying by, because I mentioned it in the video. I'm like, those are probably the first 2 women. So she was one of
Mhm.
them, probably.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess. So when did you, like, because you were driving? I flew the
Mhm.
following day. I flew Monday, but how was the drive back home for you?
Uh, Not too bad. I got a little bit sore, but I had a massage gun up in the passenger seat with me, so every once in a while, I put it up on my leg and be like, "Okay, let's work this out," and, try to stretch a little when we got to the hotel that night, so that's pretty much all you can do.
Right. Yeah, I remember driving after Marine Corps Marathon, and I got home in really bad shape because I was like, yeah. And I mean, that's a short ride for us, shorter, it's probably 3.5 hours, something like that. So, but yeah, I remember not being very comfortable after
Yeah.
that.
I remember after my first half marathon, and I was so sore just crossing the finish line, and then I had to drive myself home 2 hours. So that was not fun.
Oh, I can't even imagine driving yourself. Although after New York City Marathon, I had to go to my friend's house to pick up my stuff. And I
Mhm,
remember I was so tired at the finish line. So,
mhm.
so tired. I hopped in the subway, and I don't remember how I made it on the other side. Like, I don't remember. Like, honest,
Wow.
I remember opening my eyes and seeing the name of the station that we were at. And I was like, oh, shoot. Like, that moment of, like, I don't even know if I'm on the right, like, I don't even know if I'm going to my destination. Like, it could be anywhere in New York City. Like, and then I actually stood up and I looked at them. I was like, oh, okay. And then I sat again, and I don't remember. I think I fell asleep, probably. I think I
Wow.
dozed off. I mean, it's a long, from the finish line to where my friend lives. But yeah, I don't even remember getting there. I was in so much like exhaustion at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
To me, this was like a redemption
Mhm,
race. That it just felt, I don't know,
mhm.
it was a happy
For
race.
me, it
I was just
definitely was.
for you, because when was your other Disney marathon?
It's 2016, and I got so close to finishing and blacked out, and they pulled me and were like, "You should not be running anymore." And I'm like, "Are you sure?" And they're like, "Yes, you still get your medal. It's okay."
So how did that happen? Did you like completely faint, or
I
almost?
was yeah, I was going along and noticed that I was going slower and slower, and I was like, "What is happening?" And then next thing I know, everything started getting really dark, and then yeah, and all sparkly, and then I kind of shook my head, and I was like kneeling on the ground, and I was like, "Oh, this is not good." And then a girl rode up to me, one of the uh cast members rode up to me on a bike and handed me a bottle of water, and she was like, you are not okay." She's like, "I'm not even going to ask if you're okay. You are not okay." And I was like, no, I think I can make it." And she goes, "No, no, no, no." She goes, "You need to sit right where you are for a minute." And I said, "Okay." And as I was sitting there drinking water and trying to get my head to clear, and I saw the balloon ladies go by, and I was like, that's it. I can't do anymore." She was like, she goes, "You really do not need to be running the rest of this." And I was like, "Okay." So they put me in a golf cart and drove me to the nearest bus.
Right. And that is something that they do really, really well too. Like they have the bikers and they're like paying attention to people, which
Hmm.
and they are in different places too, because we were kind of in
Right.
the middle. Like Tristan and I,
Hmm.
we finished like I was looking at where we finished, in comparison to other runners, and we were like
Hmm.
kind of that 50th percentile. Like there were
Yeah.
as many runners behind us as they were ahead of us. Like we were kind of
Hmm.
in the middle. And we saw them like constantly. There was a girl, I think it was after Magic Kingdom, so it must have been like mile 14 or 15. She actually, the way you describe it, I think it's what happened to her. She was like ahead of us,
Hmm.
maybe, I don't know, 20 feet ahead of us. And then she started like doing this. And we were like,
Hmm.
what's all going on with her? And then she just like, we saw a biker just pass. And then he just stepped off and just held her like this, like grabbed her and they pulled her aside. And so we saw everything like it just happened like this. They were so quick.
Yeah, and I remember it wasn't just me that year, because I remember running through Animal Kingdom, and Animal Kingdom was the halfway point when they had the course set up that way. And there were people just like dropping by the time they got to the parking lot of Animal Kingdom. I mean, just flat out dropping to the ground. So it was rough that year. It was just as humid, but a little bit warmer than what we had this year, and it was a lot to deal with.
Yeah. I think this year the saving grace was that there was a little bit of a breeze.
Hmm.
At least when
Yeah.
we were, yeah, like in the open spaces, you could feel the breeze and that cools you down a little bit.
Hmm.
So even if you're like sweating, it just makes you don't feel as hot. And then as they were giving the sponges and the ice and everything, you just, like you can cool down
Hmm.
because there's a little bit of a breeze. So I
Especially like
appreciated that.
once you got to like the boardwalk or the first part where you come back into Epcot, there was a really good breeze then.
Yeah. So how has the course changed from 2016 when you did it till now? Is it better now
Um,
or?
it's a lot more. It's kind of a weirder course now, because in order to get the 26 miles in, they had to add a lot more loop arounds than they've had to do before. Um, there were several back in 2016. I know that there were several like just out and backs, just out into the middle of nowhere, and then you turn around and come back. Um, Usually you would hit Magic Kingdom around mile 6 or 7, and then hit Animal Kingdom after that, at around the halfway point, and then you would run to Wide World of Sports, and you would run through the
Oh,
stadium there.
oh,
But
that must
they
have
don't,
been nice though. Just
yeah,
run through
but
the stadium.
they don't include that anymore. So instead, that's when they added the Blizzard Beach part of it,
Which
and you
this
used to
year
run a
you don't
little
even
bit
see it.
more. Yeah, you run a little bit more through. You used to run a little bit more through the studios, and now you just kind of cut through a little corner of it, and you're back out.
Yeah. I just don't know. Like, for example, when you're running through, obviously Epcot has a lot of space where you can actually run through.
Hmm.
And I think Animal Kingdom does too. Like there's the pathways where you can run through.
Hmm.
And so does Magic Kingdom. You can just loop around. But I don't know at Hollywood Studios how they would do that because there's, like obviously there's like stairs going up and down like to the
Hmm.
Galaxy's Edge and all that. So I don't know how they would. There's so many like tight places in Hollywood
Yeah,
Studios.
there used to be a lot more backstage area to the studios, but they had to get rid of all of that for Galaxy's Edge and then move cast parking to what used to be backstage areas, and so they've kind of reconfigured the whole area there.
Right. So I know that your brother works at Disney. How
Mhm.
do they look at do cast members get excited with marathon weekend?
Um, I know all the ones that I know of do because a lot of them will volunteer to work during that weekend. And they really don't mind. They love helping people out. They love getting to see how fast everybody goes. They kind of love seeing everybody's stories. There's always some interesting ones. There was somebody that my sister was helping out one year because she was working in I think there was the year she was working in guest services, and she was trying to help this woman out because this woman was trying to do the dopey, and she ran the 5K pregnant,
Oh wow.
went into labor after the 5K, gave birth, and came back the next day to do the 10K, and
God
then
bless
managed,
her, man.
yeah, and then managed to walk the half marathon and was going to get swept from the full. And so my sister was fighting for her to say she deserves her dopey after that. It's like, even if she got swept, this woman deserves all of her medals. And so she and several other guest service people were like kind of trying to talk to Run Disney, going, these are extenuating circumstances. You've got to give this woman her medals. And they ended up giving her all of her dopey stuff.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Such a, happy story. I can't imagine giving birth and coming back.
Yeah.
Because I mean, just giving birth is it's a
I can't
marathon in and of
imagine.
itself.
Well, I can't imagine doing a 5K at 9 months pregnant.
Was she 9 months? Well, that's probably too much information because maybe she wasn't. I can't,
Yeah.
she probably was not that far along.
But
I mean, I would assume that maybe she
yeah,
just went into labor earlier than,
yeah,
yeah. Because at
good
9 months,
grief.
uh, well, she made it to history because I don't know that I mean, she's probably the only one. She made it in the Disney history books.
Oh, I know, right? So yeah, it's
Yeah,
just when they get to see people's stories like that, and get to help people out along the course, and there's a lot of them that they just really get into that, so they love volunteering for that weekend.
right. I thought the cast members were awesome, and
Hmm.
they were like smiles on their faces. They were just phenomenal. And in
Hmm.
some places they were like very like together, like there would
Hmm.
be a bunch of them because I guess they were preparing to go somewhere else, some
Hmm.
other point in the course. So the music was great. I mean, I was thinking like they have music pretty much in the whole, there's always something playing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I imagine people driving at 2 or 3 in the morning, like with golf carts, just dropping the speakers and just trying out that they were loud enough because they were like in the middle of nowhere. There was just a speaker
Yeah,
with music blasting. Yeah,
or a big screen showing Cinderella.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was. I mean, it was. Yeah, it's really, really well done. They have it nailed down to an art. I mean, I
Hmm.
can't imagine. I think it's so. And then the finish line, it's like
Hmm.
so nice.
Yeah.
Because it's in the middle of, I mean, you pass the ball, the golf ball, Epcot and everything, and then you get to the finish line and you're in the parking lot, but they have like the finish line is huge and they have the
Hmm.
bleachers on the side with people, and they have for the full, they have Mickey and Minnie and they're dancing to the
Hmm.
music, and the announcers say they said my name. They
Hmm.
actually said from Spain, and I was like, oh, how? I
How did
think
they know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's I don't know, it's they do it really well, as well as in the start line, like they were making conversation because
Oh yeah.
other start lines that I've been in, they are not that I don't know, that involved, but the
Yeah,
announcers
it's
in this one,
yeah,
they're
the
like
announcers, yeah, they know that you're standing there in that corral for ages waiting to go, and so they've gotta keep you entertained.
they have like a conversation going back and forth. I was like, do they choose which topics they're going to talk about? Because maybe they have talking
Mm.
points. I don't know, but they're
There's
like really in
yeah,
sync.
Yeah, I do know that there's certain things that Disney says, like, "We have this movie coming out, make sure you mention it," and so they'll have stuff like that, but the rest of it, they're just making it up as they go along.
They were when we were crossing the start line, like right before, they were talking about people that were running for other people.
Mhm,
So it was like, so we have blah blah blah. He's running for his son, blah blah blah. So or these other persons running in memory of. So I wonder how you get to be mentioned there. They probably receive emails from people saying, please mention my name.
mhm. They'll
I
do
would
that,
imagine.
or sometimes, like, you can just go up to the stage and let them know because they have cast members there that take that information, or if you're, on social media and you tag, Run Disney, then they'll pass along that information. In
Oh,
fact, it
nice.
was really cool. At the start line, they were saying, "Hey, if you're taking pictures in the corral, take a picture and make sure you tag Run Disney." And then, like 15 minutes later, they had a slideshow of people who had tweeted pictures of themselves in the corral.
Oh, I didn't see that. That's pretty cool. And it's super cool that they have fireworks for every wave.
Mhm,
I thought that was, I mean, it's not full blown. Like, I picture that as like full blown fireworks. It's like
mhm.
not full blown. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like a whole 10 minutes, but yeah. Yeah, that was really nice too. I mean, it's just a phenomenal race. I would do it
Mhm.
again in a heartbeat. So,
I do know at the Princess, when you finish, they have cast members that are wearing fairy godmother cloaks, and they have little roses with glitter in them, and they'll sprinkle glitter on your hair. They'll give you some pixie dust after you cross the finish line, so you have it in your hair for the photos.
oh, yeah, it's just, and the photographers. I've never
Mhm,
had like a photo from a race that I liked ever. I've had many
mhm,
races, never had a photo that was like, okay, I'll buy this. This one is like all the freaking pictures. They're all
mhm.
phenomenal. I don't know how they obviously have people who are very talented
Oh, yeah.
because they're all great pictures. I mean, the light, the way they take them, like they have the right angle. Because when you
Mhm.
were like going through the castle, they have the whole castle. Like in my
Right.
picture, they have the whole castle. And I am big
Mhm.
too. It's not like I'm tiny no, it's just the right angle. Yeah, I don't know how
And
they
and,
there was
like,
a
perfect focus and everything. Just
yeah, they must have like phenomenal equipment. There was a guy like on the ground, like almost like
mhm.
laying down on the ground just to have the perfect. Yeah.
And it's nice that they have those bright neon tents that they sit in so you can see one coming ahead and go, "Oh, photographer," and everybody starts getting ready.
Yeah. And you can almost tell where they're going to be because of the like what you have behind. Like when you're going through
Mhm.
Hollywood studios, you know that you have the tower terror behind.
Right.
There were like tents there. I mean, it makes sense because then they have the shot with, Hollywood Boulevard and then or whatever that name of that street is. Yeah. So, yeah. And then they have them out at the exit again when you have the tickets, the booths that you go through when you access that
Yeah.
blue
Yeah, that
thing
was
on
super
top.
cute.
Yeah. I have another picture there. I mean, they were like in really great places to take pictures. Yeah. Even the one, like, they capture things that, like, in the finish line, I was going through
Mhm,
all the finish line pictures, like, they are paying attention to the people's faces and what they're doing. Like, you
mhm.
can tell that they're capturing
Yeah,
expressions. Yeah.
and
Like,
they
if
have
you're,
enough photographers there at the finish line to make sure that everybody gets an individual shot.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, we're getting a picture, a question. We were going to talk about this. I'm a healthcare worker pretty concerned about COVID. How crowded was it in the corrals and on course? It was crowded. Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know how you
Yeah,
felt about it. Yeah.
what you saw is that's typical for a Disney race pre-COVID as well.
Yeah. I was a little disappointed myself with how non-existent. I mean, for
Mhm,
everything else, they were really well organized, but this to me was I would have loved for them to say, okay, everybody at the start line needs to wear the mask because we
mhm.
were like so tight and you're not even moving. I mean, when you're like standing, you're like really close to people and like the person next to you could have COVID or you could have it and pass it
Yeah.
along to someone else. I mean, we were wearing masks. You were too. So
Mhm.
I wore it when I thought I should wear it. Again, just to protect myself and protect other people. But I
Yeah,
wish they had said, yeah,
from what I saw on a lot of the Run Disney groups, there were a lot of people who just at the last minute said, "You know what? It's not worth the risk," and either, canceled or switched to virtual.
yeah. I had just gotten boosted, which is not a guarantee of anything because I know people who got boosted and they're sick now. So,
Mhm.
um, but I got boosted. I waited as long as I could to get boosted 3 weeks before the race because I thought,
Mhm.
okay, it's enough for my immunity to kick in and be as protected as I can. In my mind, it made sense. And then I wear masks around the parks. I wear
Mhm.
masks indoors. I wash my hands. I had hand sanitizer on me.
Yeah.
I tried to be conscious. But again, just 2 months ago for New York City Marathon, they were asking for a mask at the start line, mask at the
Mhm.
finish line. They were giving masks away at the finish line. That once
Mhm.
you got your medal, there was someone else giving masks to people. So even if you didn't have a mask with you because you lost it during the race, they would give masks. I mean, disposable masks, but they were giving masks to people.
Yeah,
So,
with Disney, they definitely encouraged it, but they did not enforce it.
right. It's just, I mean, it's a risk that I think
Yeah.
to
The
me,
only place I saw it being really enforced was anytime you were going into an indoor area, they had cast members that said you have to have a mask on. But
yes,
anything
like going
outdoors, not
inside the
so much.
bathrooms, yeah, you had to put it on. And I did. Like I put my mask on as soon as I had it with me like here and I would put it on like
Mhm.
immediately. Yeah. And if you didn't, there was someone there telling you to wear it. Yes, that's true. But it's I know a lot of people now on Instagram and on the boards on Facebook, there's a lot of people. I read this morning there was someone asking, so how many of you ran during marathon weekend and are sick right now? And there were a lot of people
Mhm.
saying that they were sick. So I mean, I am on my 5th day right now, so because I flew back Monday. So if I
Right.
got sick, I'm going to assume it was not because of Run Disney, because 5 days later, I just don't think. I think it's probably because I got it at the grocery store, like here in
Yeah.
my local. Yeah. So I don't know if you're a he or she. I'm sorry, MP. Many local races nowadays require masks before the start and then after the finish line.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm just surprised that they didn't because they've been so
Yeah.
like strict with the masks and they still are. Like we went
Mhm.
after the marathon, my friend and I went to Hollywood Studios and
Right.
the day before we were in Epcot and they require masks every time you walk into a building. So every
Mhm.
time so I don't know. I guess because it's outdoors, they thought, well, but I wish they had said just wear your mask.
Yeah.
I would have appreciated it. People were also going to the porta potties,
Mhm.
like going in and out without the masks. The porta potties are like a place where you can actually get anything because
It's
it's
like
an
it's a big
enclosed
petri
space.
dish.
Yeah, if it's such a like there's no way of going in. I mean, they're disgusting anyway. So, and people were going in and out without masks, which,
Mhm.
if they had required masks at the start line, then that wouldn't have happened. So,
Right.
yeah, I don't know. That's one of those things. I know people who pulled last minute because of that. So,
Mhm. And the thing is, with a Disney race, you cannot get a refund. They give you the money back on a Disney gift card so that you can use that towards another Disney race or towards, Disney merchandise or whatever you choose to spend it on, but the money stays with Disney. So even with COVID, there's no way to get money back. So
right.
like if you're going to register for a Disney race and you think that that may be a concern, just keep in mind Disney does not give refunds.
But so, I mean, many other races don't refund
Mhm.
you at all. Like,
Mhm.
if you book a race with rock and roll, what is it called?
Mhm.
Rock and roll races. They
Mhm.
don't, they cancel the race. You're out. You lost the
Mhm.
money. They don't even give you an entry for another race.
Right.
You just lost it. So,
Or I know some
so
people
I
that registered with Rock and Roll and then they canceled a race and they said, "Well, we'll give you credit towards a 5K over here." It's like, I registered for a
it's not
half
the same
marathon.
thing,
Why do you want me to
right?
drive to another state and run a 5K?
Right. Yeah, it's an organic, and a lot of people. I mean, in social media, there's a lot of outrage about that. I
Mhm.
personally don't think that I would sign right now with rock and roll
Mhm.
because I just don't think I don't think it's fair. At least give me an
Yeah.
entry for another. Give me something. Like
Yeah.
I ran Broad Street, and what they did, so they canceled it. They moved the race from May to October, and then in
Mhm.
October it could not happen because still there was a lot of COVID. So
Right.
they gave us they sent the medal home. They sent the T-shirt, and they
Mhm.
gave us, I think it was a 40% discount for the next year's race.
And see,
Which,
that's fair.
40%, then it's a lottery. So you have your
Yeah.
spot and it's 40% off. And you're gonna get, and again, the medal, the T-shirt, everything. So I thought it was fair. It's like, okay, because
Mhm.
you have to pay when you're organizing a race, you pay for certain things.
Mhm.
So I understand that there's a business component. You have to make money. That's how you survive as a
Mhm.
company. But there's no reason why you should not refund anything at all or not give people anything. I
Yeah.
think there's something that the runner should get, and whatever portion, it has to make sense for the business, but
Mhm.
it gives something. So for me, what Broad Street did was fair because
Yeah.
I ran it
Totally.
virtually, got my medal, got my T-shirt. They put something else. I think they had like buff or something. They put something extra and they shipped it to
Hmm.
me. I didn't have to go get it. So,
Yeah.
and then the following year you pay 40% less. So, yeah. I mean,
Good deals.
I thought it was a good deal. Yeah. But people were complaining about that too. I mean, they didn't work for everybody, but at
Mhm.
least it's something. They're making that effort of, and they explained it. They said, like, this is a business. We are running this for profit. So
Mhm.
yeah, but I do not understand not giving you something. So, like Disney giving a gift card, I kind of, I don't think that's, many businesses give you a gift card anyway. You return your
Yeah.
clothes at Old Navy, they give you a gift card. you know,
Yeah.
like if you pay cash or if it's a gift, if someone gifted that to you, you get a gift card. The
Mhm.
only way you get it back is if you pay with your credit card. So,
Right.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I will say
So,
I love that, first of all, Disney has so many volunteers, and the fact that all of these volunteers were doing their job, happy to be there, and they were all masked, every single one of them. I mean,
yeah.
that's a big deal.
Yeah. I thought they were, I mean, and they didn't run out of anything at any of the tables that I saw.
Right.
They had plenty of everything. They had water, they had
Mhm.
Gatorade, they had like the bananas. When we crossed again, we were kind of in the middle, like really mid packers. Like there were as many runners in front of us as behind us. When we
Mhm.
went through the bananas, they had boxes with like a
Mhm.
track with a ton of bananas behind, and they had plenty of bananas.
Oh, yeah.
So I
And
mean,
then you
they
got
are
2
just,
bananas at the finish line.
I actually didn't. Oh, yes, I got two bananas.
Mhm.
Yes, yes. I was. So here's the thing that happened. So we um we had the first night that I was there. So my friend Lynn, because she did Dopey, she was there earlier. But the night of Friday, Friday night, we slept at the All Stars movies,
Mhm.
and then we moved to the Hilton in Bonnet Creek. So
Right.
the Hilton in Bonnet Creek has a bus, but the last bus for runners, but the last bus from Eckhart leaves at 12. So I needed to be on that bus. So I just grabbed my stuff and booted so quickly to the bus. I ran to the bus actually, like I was, because it was like 11:50, I think, or something. I was like, I'm
So
gonna
you ran
miss
an
this bus.
ultra that day.
Then I had to. I mean, there's a good. It's almost a mile from the finish line to where the bus, because they obviously it's not like the bus is from Disney. They put these other shuttles like all the way at
Mhm.
the end.
Right.
So yeah, it was kind of a hike. I made it though.
And
So
then of course at the beginning, just walking from the staging area, from like the reunion area in the athletes village to the corrals, that's another mile.
yeah, you do a lot of walking, but I would say that's typical of big races. I mean,
Mhm.
in New York City, you walk forever. I mean, you're walking. I think it put 6,000 steps before I started running.
Mm,
I mean, it was yeah.
crazy.
New York City, it's logistically, it's a nightmare. At least this one starts and ends in the same spot.
Yeah,
So, like
yeah.
it's nice when they're like, start and
When
finish
it's a
in the same
loop,
place
yeah.
when it's a loop. Yeah, that's really nice. New York City, you start in one place and then you end in a place that's completely different. So,
Mhm,
you have to get yourself to whatever it is that you have your car, your hotel,
mhm.
or yeah, it's a lot more complicated. So, yeah, I mean, there's not much that I would change from this race. I thought it was so like perfectly executed. Yeah.
Yeah, Disney has this down to an art at this point. They've really, really worked it out on how to make this the best experience that they could give, especially with everything that's going on right now. I really think that they've done the best they can in order to, you know, especially keep a lot of their cast members safe, which of course is a concern, and still making sure that the on course runners have a good experience. And so even though you couldn't get up next to a character and have their picture taken with them, you could still get a picture with them. You just weren't standing right next to them. So I mean, that making sure that that everybody has a good on course experience that's one thing that Disney has done really well with these races.
And it was done not for nothing, but the way that they set up the stages for the characters, the way that they take the picture,
Hmm.
it seems like it's much closer than it really is. Like they
Hmm.
were 6 feet apart, but it's like the perspective. It seems like you're
Hmm.
right there. Yeah. They were like a little higher. Yeah,
Right.
it was nicely done. We only got one picture taken with Figment. That was it.
Oh, because you
That's the
never
only
see
one we
Figment
stopped for.
anywhere.
Yeah, that's the only one we actually
Yeah,
stopped
that's
for.
another plus to the course is that they put characters out there that you're not going to typically see in the parks, or they will put out your regular characters, but they'll put them in an outfit that you won't normally see them in.
Yeah, there were a lot of characters that I was like, who's this? Who's this? Like, yeah, Tristan knows all of them. She has four girls and they watch a lot of Disney. I have a boy and we never watched a ton of Disney movies, but a lot of them I was like, who's this? Like, I mean, the obvious ones I knew, but
Mhm,
but yeah, they had a lot of they had Winnie the Pooh, they had Piglet. I mean, they have a
mhm,
lot of the big characters, and then they had several that were like, oh, these are like rare, like
mhm.
you don't see them as often. So MP's
Yes,
asking, did
they
they have
did.
photo pass photographers of the characters? Yes, they're planning. I mean, there's so many photographers. There's
Yeah.
hundreds. Yeah,
So you had the option of getting the PhotoPass photographer to take a picture of you, or if you had your phone, you could grab a selfie,
right.
which is what I
We did.
did several
Yeah,
times.
yeah, we did. And then if you grab a selfie, you can actually grab it. You don't have to wait in line. You could actually
Right,
yeah. I mean, it's just that the character might not be looking. But even so,
right.
I felt like I think it was on the first mile they had Goofy. Was it Goofy or Pluto? I think it
Mhm.
was Pluto.
It's Pluto. Pluto was at the very
Pluto.
beginning.
Yes, and I am like passing by and I was filming. So I said, "Hi Pluto." And Pluto actually turned and said, like he's on my video just waiting, which I
That
think it's
happened to
great
me
because
at,
they're paying attention,
Animal Kingdom. I stood there and I got a picture with, Doug from Up behind me, and then I turned and said, "I love you, Doug," and Doug's like, "Ah."
Yeah, they really do they get is it the same person? I was, thought that maybe they changed people. Like they are
They
the
usually,
characters, but do they change who's
yeah,
inside?
they usually, they do like, I know when we used to do it, it was like 20 minutes on and 10 minutes off. And a lot of times, if you were in kind of a high traffic area, kind of a rush time, then during your time off, somebody else would come on. Because a girl that I worked with was she was playing a character, and she said that and she was coming off and another friend of hers was coming on, and in this character you could see their legs, um, as part of the costume, and So she said that she kind of hung around just right backstage to hear kids reacting to her friend coming on as the same character. And she said her friend came on, and this little girl up in the front goes, "Oh, look, she lost weight." She was like, "Oh no."
That's too funny. Oh man, that's too funny. So I was wondering because I was like, there's no way they can be in there like just standing. I don't know, 7 or 8 hours because from the time, I mean, it took us 6 hours, 10 minutes to run the race. So, but the characters are out there much longer. So I
Yeah.
was like, there's
That's
no
why
way it's the
every
same
once
person,
Yeah, that's why every once in a while you'd go by a character stop and people would be in line, but there'd be nobody there. It's because they were taking a required break.
right? And where do they go to get changed? Do they pick
They
them
have
up and they go?
they sometimes they will drive them out there in a golf cart. Sometimes they'll have a trailer parked back there, and that they use that kind of as a green room area for several characters that are in the same area.
Because that was something I was trying to pay attention to. It's like, okay, where are they like getting changed? I was always very inquisitive. So my parents could not like when Christmas came around, I was always very inquisitive. I would always ask about, yeah. My question was like, so why do American kids get Santa Claus? And in Spain we get the three wise men. Yeah, like why? Why doesn't Santa Claus come here? And why don't the three wise men go there? My mom always had good answers to that, but
Mhm.
yeah, she always said, well, they're local. The three wise men are local. They are in the desert. They just cross the Mediterranean. They don't
They
have to
don't
go
have to
very
go
far.
as far.
Yeah. How did they cross the Mediterranean with the camels? Like that would be my mom's always. Well, I asked
On a
several times
boat.
just to, yeah. No, my mom said they're magical. They fly.
Ah,
But then I would ask other moms, like, okay, this needs to like they all have to say the same thing. Yeah, yeah. I was
like,
always very
I need
inquisitive.
answers.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey,
Chris.
Chris. Hi. You're catching us at the end.
I know,
we've
right?
we've been talking Disney Marathon for a while. Go watch our videos, Chris. Because Heather
Mhm,
has two and I have one.
mhm.
So yeah. You get really good merch.
Yeah, the
You
merch was
did. I
fun.
didn't get anything.
Yeah.
I mean, when I got there, it was all gone. There was nothing left.
Since my sister lives there, she went the first day of the expo and FaceTimed me, and she's, like, walking me around going, "Here's all the marathon stuff. What do you want? What do you want?" She's like, I'm grabbing it for you." She goes, "Just pay me when you get here. It's okay."
Yeah. So which one would you like to do? Which race would you like to do from
Um,
Disney?
I really wanna do
You
the,
can only say one.
hmm, just one. I haven't done the, Wine and Dine Half Marathon, so that's definitely on my list.
Okay, and why? Why do you want to do that one? Why would that be your favorite?
Ah, just because I haven't done it.
Okay. I would see 1 and 9 doesn't really like, I don't know. Um, I think I would,
Although if, taking that out of the equation, I would say Tower of Terror 10 miler just because that's one I've always wanted to do.
yeah, that would be, and also 10 miles is just the perfect distance.
Mhm,
It's just like, yeah, you don't have to, like, you have to train, but if you train minimally, you can do well.
mhm,
You can walk around the parks later without being extremely exhausted because after a
mhm.
marathon, you're usually tired. I mean,
Yeah.
even if you're in good shape. Yeah. So 10 miles is just the perfect distance for
Mhm.
me. I would like to do a tower star. Yeah. And also, not for nothing, but since it's spring surprise, I am assuming next year they're probably going to have something different. So
Possibly. I don't know. I
I,
don't know if they're gonna stick with the I think they have spring surprise stuff up for 2023, and they may be sticking with the same races, but I'm not sure.
oh, really? Hmm.
Mhm,
I was just wondering, like, if it's surprise, they could even change the whole, like if
mhm,
instead of a 10 miler, they could do, I don't know, instead of a 5K, they could have a 4 miler or something,
mhm.
like change
Or
it
do like
completely.
yeah, or do like a Haunted Mansion 10K or,
Right. I would see
change
that's
attractions. Yeah.
right, right. And then the t-shirt's different, the medal's different. And then you have to, because if you're doing like marathon, for example, if you do the marathon, you have Mickey on the
Mhm.
medal. That's what you get. You get Mickey.
Right.
So if they change it and it's a surprise, then you get different. It's a completely
Mhm.
different medal with a
And
different character.
that's what they do with, Princess Weekend and with Wine and Dine is they change the characters. So, like, last year or it was a carryover from the year before, Wine and Dine was all villains. And
Right.
then, of course, Princess Weekend, you have a different princess on each medal, and they change that every year.
Right. I'm still disappointed that they don't have Star Wars anymore, because I would have loved to have done Star
Mhm.
Wars. The medals were like so nice
Mhm.
for Star Wars.
They were pretty.
So hopefully they bring back something
Mhm.
like that, because that would be nice. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just interesting that they decided to get away with it. It was a successful
Mhm.
weekend. So
But with Springtime Surprise, that, if they're gonna switch things out, that kinda gives them the option to throw in a Star Wars race at least once.
right, right. They can still do the Avengers or something. That's what I mean. Like,
Mhm.
to me,
Yeah.
the concept of having a surprise is what I why I would really like, because then it's different every year. It's just a different medal with a different,
Right.
you know,
And
topic or
same with their virtual 5Ks that they do every summer, because they have a series of 3, and then you get an extra medal if you do all 3 of them, and then they have different themes. This last year was Lion King. The year before that, they were, famous Disney rides. I know the first year my mom did it, they had it was all Pluto themed,
oh, I remember that
and,
one. They were nice. Yeah,
they were super cute. There was one year they did all Avengers, so they had a different
I
Avenger
remember
for
that
each
too.
medal. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing with the virtual is that I always feel like I'm not really deserving the medal.
Mhm.
I always feel like, I don't know. And that's a me thing. I completely
Yeah.
understand why people want them, but I always feel like I don't know. I like someone giving the medal to me and crossing the
Mhm.
finish line. And yeah,
Yeah, I only ever register for a Disney virtual if I'm really in love with the medal.
which is a fair reason too.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. So Haley's saying this has been so informative. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for joining,
Thank
Haley.
you.
Yeah, and I think we've been talking for almost an hour and 20
I
minutes.
know, right?
So,
We could keep talking about Disney for a
oh,
long
I
time.
could forever. Yeah. So, 2024, I'm doing Dopey. I hope you join me.
Yay.
Yeah, because it's going to be my 50th. So, I turned 50 years old 2 months before that. So,
Sweet.
yeah, I was telling my mom about this, and she was like, "Why would you want to do all that? Like, why?" Like,
Why not?
it was like, "Why?" And then I was talking Tuesday to a coworker, and I was explaining I did the marathon, but all these other people, they did Goofy and they did Dopey, and she was like I see her on camera, and she looks at me and she's like, "So explain to me why." I'm like, "What do you mean why?" And she's like, "Why? Why would you want to do 5K, 10K, half and full? Like, why?" And I'm like, "It's a challenge." And she's like,
To say
"Oh,
you did it.
why?" I'm like, "Because I'm like, I don't think we're gonna understand. You're not gonna get it." Yeah, it was like, well,
Reminds
I
me
don't
of
know.
Reminds me of one of my favorite signs that I saw at the race. It was somebody holding up a sign saying, "You realize no one's making you do this."
Yeah. Oh, did you see the sign? This was close. It was in Hollywood Studios. Or
Mhm.
was it Epcot? I think it was in Epcot, actually. There was this guy with a sign that said, "You run Disney better than Bob Chapek."
Yes.
He was so good. He was so much fun. I mean, it was like,
Oh,
this got to be the best.
that's
Yeah. People got, like I saw signs that I hadn't seen in any race.
mhm.
Yeah. They were like, people were very original with the signs. So
I liked the woman running in front of me that on the back of her shirt said, "Dear God, please let there be somebody behind me to still read this shirt."
that's a good one. I saw one that said something about dopey, like today's last day of me being dopey, or
Mhm.
I don't remember. It was the way that he put it in there. I mean, he had written it. I mean, it's people get very, and they were like the costumes in the course. Like
I
some
loved
people
the
get
girl.
so,
There was a woman dressed as Joy, and the back of her shirt said, "Today is a core memory." I thought that
oh,
was really sweet.
yeah, there are people that go like all out with the costumes. So I would have been so I was Princess Leia. I wanted to be Chewbacca. But then when I saw the weather, I
Mhm.
thought, okay, Chewbacca is probably not going to be the right choice. But I was going to have like boots, like I was going to put like fur in the boots and just like put them like um put Velcro on my socks and just have
Mhm.
boots and like fur here on the, and there was no way. I mean, it was just too hot for that.
It
So,
was way hot.
but you know, if I were to do Dopey, I would actually choose Star Wars and do characters from Star Wars on each one. So that's what I
Very
would do.
cool.
Yeah, that's my thing. So, well, guys, I see there's 7 people right now on the chat. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yay.
Go see. I put Heather's channel. It's linked in the description box. So go show her some love. She's there. I put it right there. So just go follow her. She has a few videos on the Disney Marathon. So are you going to run another one soon? Like next year or?
Oh, if I do one next year, it's probably not going to be marathon weekend. I may look at possibly Princess Weekend because I've done that one before and it's super fun.
I would love to do the marathon again next year. I would come, instead of coming Friday, I would come Saturday morning, pick up my bib and
Mhm.
just run the marathon and then fly Monday back. Yeah, I would make it like a quick in and out, much quicker
Mhm.
than this, because this year I came on Friday. But yeah, that's what I would do. But I already have plans to pays another friend. So yeah,
Awesome.
I don't think she joined, but if she watches this after the fact, I'm talking about you. Yeah, she messaged me already and she was like, "Can you base me?" So
That's so cool.
yeah. So it was a lot of fun. I mean, I just enjoyed
Mhm.
every single minute of it. It was so much fun. There
Yep.
was
Disney races,
not a thing.
highly
Yeah.
recommend. Mhm.
Yes, like 5 stars, guys. If
Mhm.
you can do it, if you can afford to do it, just don't even second guess
Just like
yourself.
just like anything Disney, you are getting what you pay for. It's a lot of money, but they give you a lot in return.
Right? But I do feel like you can book a trip to Disney and it's possible that you don't have fun. Like there are people, I've seen
Mhm.
people in Disney be miserable because there's a lot of people.
Yeah,
It's hot in the parks. It's like there's a long line for the rides. Like not everybody has like a perfect time. And I'm sure
it's
that's
what
true
you
for
make
races
of
too.
it.
But in races in general, I think, like it's just so well organized and I think
Mhm.
99% of the people enjoy a Disney race. They're just fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just like anything, it's what you make of it.
Right. Okay. And here is where we live it. And thank you so much, guys, for joining. Go subscribe to Heather's channel and subscribe to mine if you're just watching this and not subscribed. And we are going to see you very soon. Bye,
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Bye.